Welcome everyone to the Sideboard for the Atlanta Invitational. I'm here with Gerry Thompson. Gerry, how's it going?
Good.
Good job.
I'm excited about this deck.
All right. Well, one of the most interesting things, I guess we'll start off with, you're playing Legacy today, but you got some Shocklands. I can't help but notice. Budget concerns.
It is. Like, times are tough, the economy's bad, and I'm just really looking forward to Ravnica, I guess.
So celebrating early with Shocklands and Legacy, we're playing Death Shadow.
Death Shadow, yeah. Like, your life's a resource. Normally, players want to play to conserve their life. I just want to pay as much as possible and hopefully not get double lightning bolted out. In this deck, the life basically trades for mana. Like, you have cards like Snuff Out, Gitaxian Probe, Thoughtseize. They're all like pretty cheap for their cost. And paying the life would be a drawback, but for this deck, it's actually awesome. You get like cheaper spells, and you get to grow your giant guys.
Sure. Which is in and of himself a little big for his cost.
It's 1 mana, bigger than Tarmogoyf most of the time. So
awesome. Well, one of the new changes from your deck, I know we've seen this deck a little bit in past weeks. You played it to a top 8, or did you win a Legacy tournament?
I won a Premier event, yeah, like 40-man tournament online.
All right, so we saw one of those, but you've since then added green.
Yeah, so basically instead of these 6 cards, I had 4 Dark Confidants. Obviously plays well with the Death Shadows and everything, and does kind of the whole like blue-black fish-style deck thing really well. But I did want another actual threat because, like Delver, if you play against a deck of Lightning Bolts, like they can just kill these, and then if you don't draw a Death Shadow, then it's like actually hard to close a game out. So using things like Thoughtseize and Hymn to Tourach to like slow them down, disrupt them a little bit, but then if you don't have a clock, then they have a bunch of chances to like get back in the game with some top decks. So I wanted more actual fat guys to close the game out. And there were a couple games where Confidant was like pretty dangerous in the late game, so I think Sylvan is like a safer choice. It's harder to kill, so...
Especially with Force and Snuff Out being like...
Yeah, you know, like, sometimes you play Confidant, you're like, all right, come on, Force of Will, come on. But, like, then after it does hit you for 5, you're just like, well, I hope I don't hit another one, because it'd be really awkward.
And Sylvan has very similar synergy. It's almost like an optional Dark Confidant, really.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, except, like I said, it's harder to kill, which is awesome.
Yes. So that covers, I think most of the main deck is pretty standard tempo fare. We do have Gitaxian Probe, which is a nice option. I notice you're not running Cabal Therapies, which could be a consideration normally with this kind of archetype.
Yeah, I tried like Therapy, Snapcaster, like Reanimator, Unearth, Baleful Strix, like that type of stuff, but I'm not really pressuring them. I'm kind of like shredding their hand, but a lot of these decks in Legacy are so redundant. They have like multiple pieces of all their combos. Like it doesn't take that much time for them to like just rebuild and... So I want to disrupt them a little bit and like play a fat guy and kill them that way. I don't want to just like, you know, get value off Cabal Therapy and stuff.
Sure. Let's shift on over to the sideboard. The sideboard's got a number of interesting spells. I think all of them are a little bit unique. Probably the most common sideboard spell for these colors would be the Meb and Dread of Knights.
Yeah, you know, Maverick, and there are decks like Burn and Goblins. Even the Blue Blast is good against like Sneak and Show sometimes. They can have Overmaster or Sneak Attack, and if you play against Charbelcher.
Now you're sort of running a little counter to your strategy here with
the Jits, the life gain. I know. I'm mostly using it to kill creatures.
Mostly.
Hey, occasionally.
And occasionally opponents.
Yeah. Hopefully. No, occasionally, you know, they do get in, like, you get into a racing situation, or they could peel a bolt to kill you. So, like, Jit is good against Rogue, it's good against Maverick.
It's also a card I imagine you find yourself having to fight over sometimes.
Yeah, especially out of Maverick, for sure.
Also a card that I imagine sees some play against Maverick. Engineered Explosives?
Nope, not against Maverick.
Really?
Yeah. Basically, it's another Edict effect against Nimble Mongoose, and I like having these broad sideboard things, like the Blue Blast is good against a bunch of different decks, and the EE is like good against Charbelcher too. They're trying to empty the Warrens you and stuff.
Cuts out that line.
Yeah, I like having these like very broad answers. So it also is another thing against Counterbalance or Entreat the Angels in a pinch. So.
All right, plays a lot of roles.
Yeah,
just not the one I said.
I think it's just like too slow for Maverick.
That's fair. You also have the value of obviously being able to go to 3 since you're 3 colors, which is just a handy trick
that's true.
You didn't have available before. Crozing Grip, another strong card for the Counterbalance matchup. I think I got that one right.
Yep. Counterbalance mostly. Probably some Stoneblade decks too, but I'm not sure how popular that's going to be.
I think a lot of those decks are actually shifting over to
the
Counterbalance and the Miracles, even if they still run Stoneblade. So. Moving on, you have 1 Hymn to go up to 4. I guess this is just an instance of like you couldn't really get exactly what you wanted.
No,
the main deck, or
there are a lot of decks where Hymn is actually not that good. Like against Rug, if you're on the draw, you don't want to draw too many.
That's fair.
You know, it's pretty weak against like Snare, Pierce, and Daze. So If you do draw like 2 per game, it's like pretty bad. So normally I want to draw like 1 per game, but there are matchups like the show and tell decks or the control decks, any sort of like storm combo deck, Belcher, whatever, where you definitely want the full 4. You want to draw 2 per game. So
I also feel like people have kind of backed away from misdirection recently.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Much better
the sneak and show decks now have like Omniscience in their deck, Overmaster, Burning Wish.
Yeah.
They have all these different like combo cards that they need, so they don't have slots for all the protection stuff. So that's good. I probably will not be getting misdirected in this tournament. Yeah.
Man, we've done a lot of jinxes already this morning, I'm telling you. The most interesting cards we've saved for last. You've got 1 Creeping Tar Pit to let you go up in land count, I guess, if you want, which I imagine you do for the control matchups.
I do for sure. When I'm boarding in the 3-mana Planeswalkers, so Jace Beleren it's okay. You know, it's not great. It's not Jace the Mind Sculptor, but it does cost 1 less. I only have 19 lands main deck. And it's one of those things where if you play against a blue-white deck, you can play it on turn 3 and just like negate any impact that their Jace would have had.
Sure.
So I do like that fact. And in like a mirror type match, any sort of like junk deck with him to Tourach or a blue-black deck with him to Tourach, like having a 3-mana another like Sylvan or Dark Confidant type card is like very, very important.
Sure. And between all the disruption, you can very easily stick one of these on 3 without giving them a lot of draw steps to actually
for
defend
sure.
themselves.
Yep. And Liliana is kind of the top of the curve for the discard. So like if you go like Thoughtseize him against a combo deck, you're not really pressuring them. But if you play Liliana, that kind of locks the game up. They don't ever get a chance to like build their hand size back up. And I like the fact that it does that. It's good against Miracles. They don't have very many ways to pressure it. At some point, like you can very easily just ultimate it, like kill half their lands. And against Rug, it kills Nimble Mongoose, which is like the biggest problem with the deck. So
Sure. Well, we've got an interesting concoction here. We're going to go ahead and get the legacy round started very soon, so I'm going to just wish you good luck.
All right, thanks.